Hi, today I wanted to share with you something that I created for you, and it is a calculator to use to compare your costs if you have an Etsy shop versus if you were to make those same sales on your own website. The reason why I created this calculator is because I hear a lot of people who are wondering if it's worth it to have a website or they really don't understand the fees that are associated with making sales on your own website. A lot of Etsy sellers lately have been pretty upset or frustrated by the recent announcement by Etsy to increase transaction fees from 3.5% up to 5%. Now, I still think that Etsy is a great place to start. It's really a good place to test out the market, test out products, see how you can sell, try and get started. And to be honest, 5% of a transaction fee is really not that bad if you consider what it costs to sell on eBay, which is 10%, or Amazon Handmade, which is even more. So Etsy still is really an affordable platform. However, I think that some people don't realize that they could be saving money if they are moving, if they're focusing on their own website and getting people, especially repeat customers, or if they're driving their own traffic. You could be driving your own traffic to your own website, and in doing that, save yourself a lot of fees because on a website, there are no transaction fees. On a website, there are no listing fees. So you can list as many products as you want on your own website. And the way that it's different is when you have your own website, you are going to have your hosting fee or your monthly subscription if you have like Squarespace or whatever. So you have to take into account that you're going to be charged monthly whether you make sales or not. So that's kind of the difference. Etsy is you're really only paying for listing items, and then when you sell an item, you're not paying a set monthly fee unless you have the pattern by Etsy, which I don't recommend. Okay, so I'm going to make myself smaller and show you, like, give you a walkthrough on how to use this calculator. You can access and download this calculator into your own Google Drive by going to bexmarie.com/calculator. So go ahead and grab this, and then you can put in all your own numbers, and it will give you a personalized number, like here's what it costs to make those transactions on Etsy, here's what it's costing to make those transactions on your own website. Alrighty, so let me make myself little, and I'm gonna put myself over here. So here is the calculator that I created, and you can see I wrote here new with a little asterisk and put a note down here. So take into account a couple of things. This doesn't take into account anything with shipping. So if you are charging for shipping on your Etsy shop or on your website, that this isn't calculated at all. This is literally just the transaction for selling the product. So you want to keep in mind that this is using the new transaction fee, which is effective July 16th, 2018, which at the time of this recording is maybe a week or two away. And that this does not take into account the shipping. So it will actually be even better savings because you're not going to be, your own website is not going to take a 5% cut of your shipping as well. You know what I mean? Okay, so basically the way to use this file is, number one, when you get access to this, you're going to be in view only mode. So what you want to do is go to File and then make a copy, and then you're going to copy it into your own Google Drive. Then when it's in your own Google Drive, that's when you can edit it, change it, and whatever, and then it's going to be saved and customized to you. You can always come back to it and change it. So that's these instructions down here. If you need more help, there is an instructions tab right here. So if you click on the instructions tab, I kind of gave you a little information to help in case you're a little confused about what to do. So what you're going to do is you're going to fill in the light green boxes at the top, and then it's going to start calculating. So here, and if for any reason you're confused about what a box is about, you can hover over it. These ones with the little black triangle at the top, they have a little explanation of what that is. So if we're comparing here, domain and hosting fees, Etsy does not have any. If you are running your own website, I just put kind of an estimate of what you might be paying. This is just what, like, the setup that I recommend. That's how much this costs. If you go with a domain name, you go to namecheap.com, get your domain, it's going to cost you $10 a year. Then your hosting is probably going to cost about $6 a month. If you go with SiteGround, which is what I recommend on my resources page on my website, that's what I use for my clients. That's what I use to teach in my course. So you will go ahead and enter in what you would expect to pay in annual expenses for your domain and your web hosting service. So this is for an annual expense. Now, you're also going to put in your business info. So if you can pull up your shop stats, you're going to know how many items that you sold, and you're probably going to be able to know how many items are in your shop. So you're going to want to put in these three pieces: the average price point of your products. So I know that you might be selling things that are on the low end or things that are on the high end, but I would say go with what are the most of your sales. If they are a specific product, and then you want to pick a number around that. If you sell like a lot of higher end products and your maybe your lower cost items don't sell as well, you'll want to kind of skew it towards your higher end. So this isn't average price per transaction. You're doing your average price point per product. Now, granted, this whole entire thing is not going to be perfect. It's not going to be perfectly accurate, but it will give you just an idea of what you're paying to use Etsy and what you would pay to use your own website. Now, also, you're paying more to use Etsy because they provide a service for you. Not only are they hosting your shop and facilitating all of the tech, but they are also driving traffic. So you want to keep that in mind, that you don't want to just totally abandon Etsy just because that you're like, oh, look, it's cheaper to run my own website. They are doing you some favors by you being in a marketplace where there's already people shopping. So you want to take that into consideration. And this is just thinking about how you can, for repeat customers, or if you're at a market and you're selling and people want to know what your shop is, you want to be sending them to your own website so that if you're driving the traffic, that you are paying less. Because if Etsy's driving the traffic, yeah, they deserve 5%. If you're driving the traffic, then you deserve that 5%. Does that make sense? Okie dokie. So now we're going down the list. Domain and hosting, like I said, Etsy has none. You're going to put in the estimated annual expenses for just having a website. Then you're going down to listing fees. This, anything that's not a green box, you don't have to fill in. It's going to automatically fill that in. If you want to see what it's filling it in with, if you hover over here, this is kind of explaining that this is the initial listing fees for every item in your shop and renewal fees for each item sold. So this also is assuming that you never have an item that doesn't sell that you had to renew just because, or that you are renewing voluntarily to give yourself a boost. So if you're doing that, you want to think Etsy's costing you even more. All right, then we have the transaction fee. Right now that is 5%. So this is automatically calculating 5% of the total items sold and your total sales. Then payment processing fees using Etsy checkout is 3% plus 25 cents. So it's going to come up with that calculation. All of these calculations are automatically figured based on your average price point, how many items you sell per year, and how many items are in your shop. So for this scenario, an average price point of $10, 10 items in your shop, and 260 items sold per year, you're looking at 2,600 in sales. So this is for a very, very small shop. You can see over the course of the year, you paid about $262 to Etsy in order to facilitate those sales. Now, if you could somehow get all of those sales on your website instead, here are the fees. There are no listing fees. There are no transaction fees. And then for the checkout, let's just assume you're using PayPal, and PayPal's payment processing fee is 2.9% plus 30 cents. So Etsy checkout and PayPal checkout are pretty similar. I mean, it's really splitting hairs there. So you can see the Etsy checkout for this scenario turned out to be a little bit more, but really they're pretty close. What you're saving is the listing fees and the transaction fees. And instead, you have your annual website hosting cost. So you can see here that the total amount that you're paying in expenses for facilitating those sales is about $157. And here, this will automatically calculate the difference. So it's kind of fun. You can go ahead and change the numbers in the green boxes and come up with different scenarios. So let's say you're selling one item every single day. You have 40 items in your shop, and maybe your items are a little bit pricier. Maybe you're not selling soap. Maybe you're selling mugs, and they're $15 a piece or something. So now you're looking at more sales, and here's the difference. So you can see how the difference grows, and you're saving more the more items that you sell. So with Etsy, since their fees are based on the number of items in your shop, which are like your listing fees, the number of items you sell, which are your transaction fees, and then your listing renewals, these go up. You're paying more every time you sell stuff. So every time you make more sales and grow your sales, you're paying a lot more. Whereas with your website, it's going to pretty much cost you the same no matter how much you sell. So if you're not selling anything, then obviously it really is making more sense to be on Etsy. So in this scenario, if you're only selling 10 items a year, maybe you're only selling twice a month, 2 items a month. You can see where it starts to break even and become more advantageous to be selling on your own site. Now, granted, on your own website, you need to drive all your own traffic. So I want you to remember that part too. But I just thought that this would be really helpful so that people can understand the costs associated with Etsy and the costs associated with your website. If you have any ideas to make this better, more accurate, I'm all ears. I would love to make improvements to it over time and share it with the community. Since I created it on Google Drive, it will be able to be updated easily. I can always go in and change some of these formulas, or if you download it onto your own drive, you can edit the formulas and kind of tweak it the way you want. But I just wanted to get you guys started so that you can see that when you're making a lot and you're selling a lot, like let's say you're selling a ton, you're making lots of sales per year, you're going to be saving a lot of money by switching. Or if your items are really expensive, let's see. Here you go. If you're selling an item a day, but your items are more expensive, how you can see this is making a big difference. And you're saving. You can save so much money by sending your repeat customers to your own website when you're out marketing at craft shows, sending people to your own website instead of you sending people to Etsy so that Etsy makes more money. I hope that makes sense. So let me know in the comments if you enjoyed this video. This is my first video kind of like this, and let me know if you download the calculator, put in the comments how much you're going to save, or if this influences your decision at all to make a website. So make sure you go to bexmarie.com/calculator and get this for yourself so that you can start comparing and seeing how it goes. I'd love to hear from you. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. I'm going to be making a lot more YouTube videos. That's the goal. And I'm excited to have you subscribe to my channel if you want to be notified the next time I make a video. Thanks. Bye.